Welcome. One of my top priorities as president is to focus the Florida Bar on technology and help move the bar into the technological age by bringing lawyers up to speed with technology that will assist them in their practices. Many of you may have heard of Vision 2016. The bar is undertaking a 3-year in-depth review of the future practice of law. And one of the major components of that visioning process is technology and its effect on the legal profession. One of my goals is to give our lawyers tools and successfully and ethically use the technology available today and to prepare lawyers for the technology that will inevitably be available and widely accepted tomorrow. To that end, the bar has a great resource in its young lawyers who have grown up with this technology, they understand it, and in many cases, far better than more seasoned attorneys that I know. In fact, last year, the Young Lawyers Division began providing webinars on technology and related subjects free to young lawyers. Those webinars consistently drew hundreds of participants and showed the need for this type of programming within our bar. That is why I asked the Young Lawyers Division to expand their reach to the rest of the bar and host a series of free webinars geared to helping all lawyers understand and successfully use technology in their law practice. This series does just that. This first webinar provides lawyers with the basics on social media. As the series progresses, the topics become more advanced, as the lawyers following the series become more comfortable with the technology introduced. In this first webinar, Ethan Wall, a young lawyer and expert on social media, will discuss creating Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter accounts and the best practices for using social media as a professional. These webinars are a tangible result of the Florida Bar's focus on technological competence for its members and others. I sincerely appreciate the Young Lawyers Division leading the way with these webinars and on these important topics. They represent the beginning of this technological journey. I anticipate that this series will be a springboard for the bar and an opportunity for many of you to confront and embrace the challenges and opportunities of this new technological era in the practice of law. Thank you and enjoy.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Greg. I'm so excited to be here today to talk to you about Social Media Marketing 101, how to use Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn to promote your practice and connect you with the Florida Bar. And this is such a timely topic because everyone seems to be on some form of social media these days, including my mother. And I know this because this morning I posted on Facebook how excited I was to present for the Florida Bar Young Lawyers Division, and my mom liked that Facebook post. But then she commented on it and said, "Ethan, I like this post." And I thought to myself, come on, Mom, you don't have to like a Facebook post and then tell me that you like it. You just do one or the other. And it reminded me one of the reasons why I'm here today is that some of you have heard about social media and these wonderful technologies, but we may not know how to use them or how to use them effectively to market our practice and connect with the bar. So that's what today is all about. I'm Ethan Wall, and prior to founding Social Media Law and Order to pursue my passion for public speaking, teaching, education, and consulting on all areas of social media and the law, I practiced social media and internet law at a wonderful law firm in Miami, Florida. So I know what you are thinking, that I must have spent all of my time playing on Facebook. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not true, because I spent an equal amount of time on Twitter and LinkedIn and all of these wonderful social media technologies. And that's what I'm excited to talk to you about today. So I'm not a marketer, I don't do public relations, I've practiced law, but I've used these social media technologies in a way to develop my practice and my reputation. And I'm happy to join the Florida Bar in communicating to you how you may be able to use these technologies to promote your practice, connect with other attorneys in the bar, and to effectively connect with our friends at the Florida bar. So, today we're going to be focusing on the big three social media platforms, which is Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. For each of these, we're going to introduce the specific social media platform. We'll show you how to create a profile on each one of these different types of social media. You'll learn how to communicate and connect with other attorneys, and how to connect and interact with the Florida bar. And finally, we'll show you how to effectively use these tools and technologies to communicate with others, connect with the bar, and market your legal practice. And if you do have experience using social media, feel free to connect directly with the Florida bar by using our Twitter handles that you see on the screen and using our hashtag so you can join in on the discussion. Now, if you're saying to yourself, Ethan, I've got absolutely no idea what it is you're talking about, that's okay. Because one of the purposes of our webinar today is to teach you, what is a Twitter? How do you tweet? And what do we mean by those silly little # hashtags that all the kids are talking about these days? So, before we begin, just want to mention something really quick about why lawyers these days are taking what they're doing on traditional media and now using social media. So many of us are comfortable with what I call traditional online marketing. We have a website that tells people about our law firm and about our practice and who we help. We also have blogs and articles where we help to establish that we're proficient in a particular area of law and share these with the community in print and on our website. And oftentimes we communicate with other attorneys using bulletin boards and discussion forums. Well, social media takes each of these different types of components and combines them together into one platform where you can market your practice, share your expertise, and communicate with potential clients, referral sources, and other attorneys, all in one. And one of the most effective ways to use these technologies is to share the marketing activities that you are currently doing and sharing them on social media. So let's say you write a blog post or an article. Instead of just posting these things on your website, you can share them on social media. And the reason why so many attorneys are doing that is because people are spending more time on Facebook than any other website on the planet, including Google. So it helps to ensure that the work that you're doing to market your practice and to benefit the law and to get in front of your target market is going to a place where people are spending their primary time on the internet. And once your content is uploaded, it's easily shareable by other Facebook members and across different platforms. Meaning if you post something about your practice on Facebook, it can easily be shared on Twitter and LinkedIn and other Facebook pages, and that is a tremendously effective way to build your reputation and connect with other attorneys. And it's something you just can't do through a law firm website where communication is only one way and not interactive. So, now I know you're saying to yourself, Ethan, I'm sold. Tell me, what is Facebook and how can I use it to promote my practice? Facebook is the most widely visited website on the entire planet. Facebook calls itself a social utility that connects people with friends and others who work, study, and live around them. We can create our own Facebook profiles, which is really our own mini website on the Facebook page, where we can talk about ourselves, our practice, and our firms. It allows us to add Facebook friends, send them messages, and we can update our profiles with pictures, videos, blogs, and anything that's on our mind in our personal lives or about the practice of law. And we also have the ability to set up privacy features, which allows us to restrict access to all or parts of our Facebook profile and only to allow people who we accept a friend request for, to allow them to see our information and interact with us online. Now, some attorneys would come to me and say, Ethan, I don't think that Facebook is the right type of platform to promote my practice because it's too personal. It's not professional enough for my practice. Now, if those attorneys came to me a few years ago when Facebook started, I would say, you're probably right. In fact, here's how Facebook looked when it first started several years ago. So, ladies and gentlemen of the Florida Bar, I want to introduce you to Carol. This is Carol's Facebook page as Facebook looked when it just started. And as you can see, the site looks a little cartoony with images, and it's very cluttered with content. It may not have been the best way to promote our practice to our target clients at that time. But Facebook has evolved. Years later, when I began practicing, this is how a Facebook page looked like. As you can see, it's a lot cleaner. You can use a professional image of yourself at the top of the screen. And Facebook introduced something called a Facebook wall. And it's not just called that way because my last name is Wall. It's an online bulletin board that I was able to post things about myself, such as this photo right here, which says how much I'm looking forward to presenting on social media to the Florida Bar. And that was a really neat way that we can begin to use a social online platform to promote our professional practice. This is a way where I'm not coming to my friends and saying, hey, look at me, I'm a lawyer, you should hire me. Instead, in a social way, I'm sharing media, a photograph of myself speaking at an industry symposium. And as you can see on the bottom of the screen, my friend Sherry commented on it and said, that's awesome. What's wonderful about this type of interaction is I'm getting instant feedback that my audience is seeing my content. What does Facebook look like now? Now, Facebook has a timeline, and this is a wonderful way that both individual lawyers and law firms are promoting our practice. We can use the timeline to promote ourselves, our practice, and our firm. We can share news about success stories and firm accomplishments. We can establish to our captive audience our knowledge and skills by promoting our blogs, articles, publications, and presentations, which help us to develop our reputation with our referral sources and friends. And most importantly, it helps to build a sense of community. Remember, clients hire people who they know, they like, and they trust. And Facebook is a terrific platform to market our way in a social online environment in a professional way. So this is what a Facebook timeline looks like now. As you can see on the top left, it has a professional photograph of me. You can list where you work, where you went to school. There are photographs in the middle of the screen showing me presenting at industry symposiums. And at the top is what Facebook calls a cover photo. It's a really engaging way to capture your audience. You may use a cover photo to have your firm logo. This one happens to be me on top of a mountain in Salt Lake City, which helps to give my connections a way to a little bit learn more about me. Now, what a timeline does is it keeps a chronological order of all of your Facebook activity. So here, I was published in the Florida Bar News. So I took a picture of that article and shared it on my Facebook timeline. And as you can see, 52 people liked the Facebook photo. And several people commented with encouraging comments. And why is that so unique and helpful? So many times we write things in a newspaper, or we get published in an industry symposium, but we don't know who has seen that article and how effective it's been. Facebook gives us instant information to show that at least 52 people read this post and took the time to comment on it. And that's a really powerful tool. If you scroll further down my timeline, you can see that it's not just me who post on my Facebook page. You can see others that I allow to interact directly with me on my timeline, and I can interact by commenting directly on their post and having an online discussion that furthers my marketing activities on Facebook. So now let's show you how to create a Facebook account. First, you go to facebook.com. You'll set up your account with your name, email address, password, and your date of birth. and provide the requested information to build your Facebook profile and find friends. But now let me show you exactly how that process is done. This is how Facebook.com looks. And as you can see, in the middle of the screen is the area where you can input your sign-up information. And through the magic of technology, let's input that right now. There's my name, my email, my password, and my birth date. And as you can see, I did not put the year on the air, because I don't want you guys knowing exactly how old I am. And honestly, I don't want my friends here at the Florida Bar Young Lawyers Division to kick me out when I get too old. But you do see my birthday is August 5th, so feel free to send me a present. Once you click Sign Up on the bottom of the screen, Facebook asks you if you want to import your contacts. What that means is that Facebook will look through your address book, whether it's on Microsoft or Yahoo or Google or another email-based program. And then it will suggest to you who else that you know is on Facebook that you can connect with. And some people are hesitant with Facebook connecting with their information. But let me explain why this is such an important process in social media. If you decide not to add friends on Facebook, then it's not much of a social platform. It's like going to a networking event and having nobody else there but yourself. So networking is most effective when you're in a room full of people that you know and that you can talk to. And by adding your contacts and adding them as friends on Facebook, it gives you the opportunity to network with them and share more about your practice. Facebook also asks you to put some biographical information about yourself, such as where you live, where you went to school, and where you work. Now, you can skip this part of the process and not supply that information if you're not comfortable. But why Facebook does this is it can then suggest to you what other colleagues of yours where you work are on Facebook, or who else you may have went to school with that you can connect with. And it's a wonderful opportunity to then understand who else that you knew may be on Facebook and how you can reconnect with them on this platform. And Facebook also asks you to upload a photo. And come on, folks, you guys are beautiful. Upload that professional photo of yourself. Maybe take the one that your law firm snapped of you in front of a whole bunch of law books that looks terrific. When you personalize your Facebook page with your own picture, it helps add a personal flair to your professional social networking page. And once you're done, your Facebook page might look something like this. But I hope that you don't have my picture on there, because that would just be weird. But as you can see, under my photo it has where I work, where I went to school, and some very clean looking images. That's what the public would see if they visited my page. But when you log into Facebook, you're going to see the back of the interface, and it looks something like this. This is your Facebook dashboard. It's how you can find out what your friends are posting and how you can communicate and interact with them. On the left side of the screen, you'll see your profile picture on top, and below it gives you the ability to access your messages, groups that you might join, and in the middle is what's called a news feed. A news feed is when your Facebook friends publish information about themselves, whether it's a status update, a photo, or a link to an article. And Facebook will list those for you chronologically, so you can choose to interact with them if you'd like. For example, my friend Michael just celebrated a birthday and shared that on Facebook. You may be able to use this information to then write Michael a card and wish him a happy birthday. And in the event that I forgot, Michael, I just want you to know, happy birthday, buddy. On the right side, you'll see a list of other smaller status updates in the top right corner. Those may be less significant Facebook updates, like when someone likes a photo. And below that is your ability to chat with your friends in an instant messaging program that's developed right into the Facebook platform. So now let's talk about how you can communicate with your friends on Facebook. You can search for people that you know and send them a friend request. You can send private messages to your friends directly on Facebook, and even write public messages or posts on your timeline or a friend's timeline. Let me show you how to do each of these Facebook features. First, let's talk about how you add a friend on Facebook. So now we're back looking at my Facebook dashboard, which is what I see when I sign into Facebook. And take a look at the top of the screen. There's a search bar, kind of like in Google, that will allow you to type in people, places, or other things that you're interested in. So let's say that I wanted to connect with Florida Bar Young Lawyers Division Board of Governor, Gordon Glover. What I've done is typed his name into that search bar, and you can see Facebook has given me a list of everybody named Gordon Glover that is on Facebook. And I can see from that first picture that I recognize Gordon. And I also see that Facebook tells me we have 18 friends in common. So I think it's a pretty good idea. This is the Gordon I'm looking for. Once I click on his name, I now go to Gordon's Facebook page. And as you can see, I don't see much information. And Facebook is telling me that if I want to see more of Gordon's content and connect with him, I've got to send him a friend request. How that works, by taking a look at the two arrows on the screen, you press the Add Friend button. And what that does is tells Gordon that I have sent him a friend request, and then he can decide whether or not he wants to accept or reject the friend request. If he accepts it, I'll see more of Gordon's content and we can communicate even better on Facebook. But if Gordon rejects the Facebook request, which I sure hope he wouldn't, I'll never know about it. And that's something that's good to know, because sometimes people say, I don't want to sign up on Facebook because I'm uncomfortable if a client or another attorney send me a friend request. And that's okay, because if you choose to ignore it, they're not going to find out. But once you do connect with someone, or even if you don't, you can message them directly on the Facebook platform. So next to the Add a Friend button, you'll see a box called Message. And if you were to select the message box, a new window pops up and allows you to send a private message directly to your Facebook friend. This is kind of like an email, but done directly on the Facebook platform. No one else sees this information. It's just between Gordon and myself. It's a great way to communicate online with those who are your Facebook friends, or to send a message to someone before adding them as a friend. And you may say, hey, I had such a good time meeting you at the Florida Bar Convention this year. I hope to see you again soon, or something of that nature. You can also post a public message or content on a friend's timeline. So let's think of a friend that I've got. How about Melanie Griffin, the Florida Bar former YLD president? I've typed Melanie's name on the top left, and once I select her picture, I'm taken directly to her profile. And as you can see, Melanie and I are friends, both in real life and on Facebook. And if you take a look at that arrow, you can see that I've made a public post onto Melanie's profile telling her how much of an amazing job that she did as Florida Bar YLD president. And once I post it, that message is public and other people can interact with it. So it's so important that if you use this feature, you use it responsibly. But it is a wonderful way to continue to communicate with friends and develop a wonderful personal and professional relationship on Facebook. So now that we know how to add a friend on Facebook and communicate with them, let's find out how you can connect with the Florida Bar on Facebook. You can search for the Florida Bar or the Young Lawyers Division in the same way that we searched for Gordon and Melanie earlier during this webinar. You can like their Facebook pages, and that will allow you to receive informative updates that they post directly into your newsfeed. And you can share Florida Bar content and interact with the bar and other attorneys directly on the Florida Bar and Young Lawyers Division's Facebook page. Here's how it works. As you can see, I've typed the Florida Bar into the search box on the top, and I've come to the Florida Bar fan page. It's slightly different from a Facebook friend page because the Florida Bar is not a person, so I can't add it as a friend. Instead, I select this button in the middle of the screen to like the Florida Bar Facebook page. And unlike a friend request, Once I like a fan page like the Florida Bar, I will instantly receive all of the updates that the Florida Bar has directly onto my Facebook newsfeed. And once you do, you can see all of this wonderful and informative content. You can see photos the Florida Bar has presented from other attorneys directly on their Facebook page. And one thing that I love is that the Florida Bar posts many times a day information, articles, and resources that are relevant to you and your practice. For example, the Florida Bar posts something called legal links, which are links to informative information that other people share on the internet, and they put it directly onto the Florida Bar Facebook page. In fact, here, the Florida Bar has shared some articles that I posted onto Twitter. So, thanks, Florida Bar. And once that information is posted, I can interact directly with it once I like the Florida Bar Facebook page. So this is a link to an article that talks about social media and the law. And below it, next to that blue arrow, I've got the option to like, or comment, or share the Facebook post. When I like a Facebook post, it just tells the Florida Bar that I enjoy this type of material. It helps the Florida Bar to know that its followers are enjoying the type of content that it publishes on Facebook. I can also select the comment button and write a short message under the Facebook post. As you can see here, I commented on the Florida Bar Facebook post and said how much I look forward to connecting with them on Twitter. But one of the coolest features that Facebook has is called the share feature. As you can see all the way on the end of the screen, 11 people have shared this Facebook post. So let me show you what that means. If I selected the share option, a new window pops up that summarizes the Facebook post on the Florida Bar's page and allows me to post it directly onto my timeline. And I can even type an interesting message like, hey, check out all the great things the Florida Bar is posting on social media. And why would I do this? Let's say that I want to hold myself out as a wonderful family law attorney, and I find other great resources and articles online about family law. By sharing them on my timeline, I'm letting my friends know that I've got informative information that might be helpful to them, that they might find interesting about my area of law. But you don't just have to share this information on your public timeline. Let's say that you just wanted to share this article with one specific friend. You can do so by selecting the share option on the top of the screen. Right now, the option says to share it on my timeline. But if I click that box, I've got several different options of sharing it on someone else's timeline or, as I've selected, in a private message. And what that does is allows me to take the article that's on the Florida Bar's public page and send it in a message directly to someone who I think would find this content interesting. In addition to connecting to the Florida Bar, you can also connect directly with the Florida Bar president. In that same search box on top, you type the Florida Bar president, and you'll be taken directly to the Florida Bar president Facebook page. And here's Greg Coleman. Hey, Greg. You can see in his cover photo there's a picture of a swearing-in ceremony, and if I click the like button right here, I'll receive updates directly from our Florida Bar president on Facebook. And as you can see, when you scroll down his page, there's lots of relevant information that Greg can share with you about what's going on in Florida and how the practice of law is being affected right here in our state. But you just don't have Greg's updates on his page. If you select the About button, you can learn more about the Florida Bar president and his role within our bar directly on Facebook. You can also connect with our Florida Bar Young Lawyers Division. By liking their page, you'll receive informative updates about what's happening with the Young Lawyers Division. By scrolling down their timeline, you can see these wonderful, engaging photos. And if I select this one, you can see my handsome mug directly with former Florida Bar President Melanie Griffin and Florida Bar YLD Governor Gordon Glover. Now, as you can see, when you post something on Facebook, you can also add more content about what that photo is all about. So it's not just sharing articles where you can share additional information. If I zoom out and scroll down, you can see more engaging content like Florida Bar YLD new president, Michael Orr. You can also connect with the Florida Bar Leadership Academy directly on Facebook. You could see information on their page, such as my friend Jay Kim had a great honor that was shared by the Leadership Institute directly online. And if you scroll further down the page and look at the left side, you can see that other people just like you who post on the Leadership Academy page can share their content with the Florida Bar as well. So it's a wonderful place to connect with the Florida Bar on Facebook. And finally, we're going to show you how you can share your content directly on Facebook. Sharing content on Facebook helps you develop your professional reputation and keeps you on your friends' radar screens. You can locate content that you're interested in sharing, whether it's your content or someone else's, and post it directly online. And you can engage and interact with those who comment on your content. Here's how. So remember when we were on the Florida Bar site and we scrolled down and found that interesting article about social media on the law? You may be asking yourself, Ethan, how did that even get there in the first place? And how can I share my own content? Here are the 3 steps. First, you're going to locate the content that you want to share. So let's say that you found this interesting blog post or an article that you wrote and you want to share it on your Facebook page. What you do is find the URL, which is the website address at the top of the screen, and you copy that using your right click and selecting copy. You then go directly to your Facebook timeline, and in the area where you can post information, you paste that link. And what happens is magic. Facebook automatically puts the title of that article directly into your Facebook post and summarizes the first paragraph of content. And now what you can do is delete the URL address that you pasted. The article will stay there, and then you can type in some engaging content that you can connect directly with your Facebook friends. So, as you can see, I've now shared an article that I found interesting. I've asked my Facebook friends what they think about it, and we're engaging in a discussion directly onto Facebook. Why is this so powerful? Let's say that you write an article and you publish it in a newspaper, or you post something on your website. It's very difficult to know if somebody's been interacting with your content unless they pick up the phone and call you and say, hey, great blog post or great article. Now you can leverage the same activities that you're currently doing outside of social media and put them directly on to your Facebook page. And then you can connect directly with your friends or followers and really maximize your marketing activities. And that is why Facebook adds a wonderful value to your marketing needs. Now let's talk about one of my favorite social media platforms, and that's Twitter. Twitter enables users to share information up to 140 characters in length, called tweets. Twitter users can receive updates and interact with others who share similar personal and professional interests. And Twitter is not just for teenagers. Oftentimes people say to me, Ethan, how can I use Twitter to promote my practice? Isn't it just a tool for teenagers to post what it is that they're doing or taking pictures of their lunch and putting them online? Let's face it, some people do use this tool for those type of purposes. But Twitter has had a tremendous impact, not only on how we communicate in this day and age, but also on the world. And if you don't believe me, check out this video we've prepared just for you. Now hopefully we've got you excited about Twitter. Let's show you how you can create an account. You visit www.twitter.com. You can set up your account with your name, email address, and a password, and you'll create a username of 15 characters or less, and then take the Twitter tour to create your own profile, learn how to use the platform, and begin connecting. Here's how it works. This is the Twitter homepage. You'll type in your information on the bottom right and choose that username and password. Once you do, you'll start Twitter's intuitive tour to show you how to use the service. So let's walk through it together. Let's say that I've searched for the Florida bar. Twitter will suggest to me different people who are already on Twitter that I may want to connect with based upon those keywords. And as you can see, once I typed in the Florida bar, Twitter has presented a list, and there's the Florida bar at number 2. Twitter also suggested hip-hop artist Flo Rida when I typed in Florida bar, and as far as I know, Flo Rida is not a member of the Florida bar, but maybe somebody we'd want to follow on Twitter. So once we select Florida bar, you can now see that the most recent tweet from the Florida bar has been added to the large Twitter feed on the right. You can also find the Young Lawyers division, and once you select follow, they're added to the list as well, and you can pick the personal or professional people you want to follow. I've chosen to follow the Dade County Bar and my own Twitter profile. And yes, I also selected Flo Rida. Why not? Twitter thought it would be a good person for me to follow. Once you've learned how to follow someone, you can import your contacts directly into Twitter. And this is just like how Facebook works. Twitter will let you know which of your contacts and friends are already using the service. And you can also upload your photo just like you did on the Facebook site. And once you have, you'll get a Twitter page that looks something like this. On the left, you'll see your Twitter photo. Below that, a very short bio about you. As you can see, a lot less content than Facebook. In the middle, you'll see my Twitter feed, which are recent tweets by me or others that I've shared. And on the right, Twitter is going to suggest other people that I might want to follow based upon my interest. At the top of the screen, you'll also see a search bar, an envelope, and a quill. Those are different ways to search, send messages, and write tweets. And we're going to show you how to do just that. But before we do, let's take a look at the back end of our Twitter page, meaning what you see now is what others will see when they visit your Twitter account. But when you sign in, you'll see this intuitive dashboard, kind of like you did when you were on Facebook. The left side has a short recreation of your profile. The middle is a list of all of your other Twitter followers' updates in chronological order. And let's now take a closer look at a tweet and see what it's all about. If you follow the arrow on the bottom of the screen, we're going to dissect this tweet. So once we blow it up, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever asked yourself, what the heck is a tweet? It will look something like this. As you can see, it's under 140 characters in length, so it's a very short update. I've typed that New York courts are inconsistent on social media evidence discovery, followed by a very short link. That's a link that I embedded into the tweet so that if you clicked on it, it would take you to that article hosted somewhere on the internet. I've put via the @ and then PO_ST. That means that I'm sharing someone else's content and I have mentioned them in the tweet. And then I've used hashtags, hashtag social media law and hashtag SM law. The reason that I've done that is if someone clicks on that hashtag, it will take them to more tweets that talk about social media and the law. So one great way that you can use Twitter to establish your reputation is by sharing content and using hashtags that are relevant to your users. So that when someone goes to Twitter and searches for something like social media law, tweets like mine will pop up. It's a wonderful way to introduce you to people that you may not know who are interested in what you are posting. Now we're going to tell you about how you can communicate on Twitter. You can tweet messages to your followers or to the general public, depending upon your privacy settings. You can interact with other Twitter users through things called replies and retweets, and send private messages directly to other people on Twitter. Let us show you how. This is how you compose a tweet. We're now back at our Twitter dashboard, and on the right side, you can see the small quill, and when you select it, you now have the option to compose your first Twitter messages. Here's me saying, I'm composing a tweet. How cool. Now, as you can see on the bottom of the tweet, there's the number 101. What that means is I only have 101 characters left before I hit my 140 character limit. And that's what Twitter is all about. Short, quick status updates. Someone once said if I had more time, I could have written a shorter letter. And I find that if I had more time, I'd probably be able to craft a shorter tweet. And you're not just limited to text. As you can see on the bottom left, you can add a photo, or add a location, or as we saw earlier, add a link to content. And you can also tweet directly to other Twitter users. By using the @ symbol, which is the same one that you'll use in your email address, followed by the beginning of one of your Twitter followers' names, you can tweet directly to them. So as you see here, I wrote @THEF, and Twitter realized that I wanted to communicate directly with the Florida bar. Once I select the Florida bar, my tweet will now mention them, meaning not only am I mentioning this tweet on my page, but the Florida bar will also be notified that I'm communicating with them as well. So the next thing we can do is share someone else's tweet. That's what we call a retweet. Let me show you how this works. This is the Twitter page of a good friend of mine and wonderful attorney, Manuel Farach. Manny Farach posts the Florida real property and business law updates directly on his Twitter feed. They're summaries of cases that come out in the area of property and business law. And Manny uses his Twitter feed to share this content with other Twitter users. So if I found this content interesting and I wanted to share it on my page, what I do is click those 2 arrows on the bottom of the tweet, and that will retweet his message on my page. And as you can see, his tweet now shows up directly on my platform with his picture. It's a way to express to him that I'm interested in his content and also sharing it with other users. And that is what makes Twitter special. Facebook, on the one hand, allows you to interact with your friends. Twitter helps you expand your network by sharing content and exposing your interests to others. So how can I communicate directly with Manny on Twitter? I can select the reply button, which is a small backwards facing arrow. Once I do that, a new tweet will pop up and his name will be featured directly in the tweet. And I can tell him, hey, thanks for your updates. And just like when I mentioned the Florida bar, not only will this tweet be listed on my page, but his as well. If I select his highlighted name, it will take me directly back to his Twitter page, and that's what makes Twitter special. It's so interconnected. I can also tweet to Manny by using this box on the bottom left of the screen. If I type my tweet directly into his page, it will automatically mention his name and post on his Twitter timeline. So it's so easy to connect and share with others on Twitter. But if I didn't want to do a public message and instead wanted to do something private, I would click the envelope on the top of the screen. A new window would pop up with my direct messages. I can click Send Message, select Manny's name, and type him something directly. And this is just like an email or just like a private Facebook message. Unlike the retweet or the reply or the mention using the @ signal, this is a direct message between Manny and I. And as you can see, you're still limited to 140 characters in text, so you have to be brief. So now let's show you how you can connect with the Florida bar on Twitter. You could search directly for the Florida bar and the Young Lawyer section. You can follow them to receive informative updates. And you can search their Twitter followers to find out what other attorneys are connecting with the Florida Bar and the Young Lawyers Division. So as you can see at the top of the screen, we typed in the Florida Bar directly into the search window and found their Twitter page. On the top right, I've now selected the blue box and I'm now following the Florida Bar. What that means is when I'm on my dashboard and receiving the chronological tweets from my friends, I'll now also see the Florida Bars. And I'll also be able to publicly communicate with the bar by mentioning them with the @ symbol. The Florida Bar's Twitter page also allows you to find out who else is following the bar and who the bar follows. And this is a useful tool because you may say, I don't want to share my address book with Twitter, but I do want to learn what other attorneys are online without typing every single one of their names into the search box. Now, I can click directly on these options and find photos, who is following the bar, and who the bar follows. This will tell me what other attorneys are connecting with the bar directly on Twitter, and I can follow them if I'd like. I can also follow the Florida Bar Young Lawyers Division. And if you scroll down their Twitter feed, you can see that they've got engaging photos of everything that's happening with the Florida Bar Young Lawyers Division directly on Twitter. And as you can see at the very bottom, we have our very own Florida Bar president who's been mentioned in a tweet by the Young Lawyers Division. So if we click on that name, it takes you directly to the Florida Bar president Twitter account, and you could begin connecting with Greg Coleman and the Florida Bar on Twitter today. The last social media platform we're going to be talking about is LinkedIn. And I'm really excited to share this one with you because in the realm of social networking, LinkedIn is more networking and less social than Facebook and Twitter. So if there's one social networking platform that you may want to start with, LinkedIn may be it. And why? LinkedIn is a professional networking site with a membership of more than 250 million professionals from around the world. LinkedIn allows you to set up a professional profile featuring your work experience, where you went to school, and other biographical information that helps put your professional profile directly online. Now, if you have heard of LinkedIn but never used it before, here's a short introductory video to let you know what LinkedIn is and how it works.
If you've ever received an email that says join my network on LinkedIn, you've probably wondered, what is LinkedIn? A simple answer is that it's the world's largest professional network, helping people find and share opportunities every day. But how is it relevant to you? Managing your career is just one reason to join LinkedIn. As you develop your professional profile, you establish an authoritative resource on your experience and capabilities that lets people find you when they search the internet. In 2 minutes, you'll be up and running with the most important page on the web you'll ever have. Do you know what people find when they Google your name? With LinkedIn, you'll have more control over what appears in Google results, and having a robust profile encourages people to approach you with opportunities. Many of your contacts are already on LinkedIn, and you can reconnect just by uploading your address book. This lets you stay in touch even as your contacts change jobs and email addresses. Your reputation is summed up by the relationships you've developed over your career. LinkedIn helps you maintain these relationships authentically. In addition, when you want to make new business connections, you can find people using LinkedIn's search tool, then see who you know in common. This makes it easy to request an introduction from your trusted connections. You can also join a LinkedIn group where professionals in your field discuss issues and solve problems related to your industry. Link to your Twitter account to share tweets with your professional network, both from LinkedIn to Twitter and vice versa. And use LinkedIn's mobile application to stay current with your network wherever you are. These are just a few features that help you get the most out of LinkedIn. Whether you're working in an office or on the go, LinkedIn keeps you in touch with the people that matter to your career. And since signing up is free, LinkedIn just might be the best investment you'll ever make in your career.
Now that we've got a good idea of why we should be on LinkedIn, let's show you how. This is how you create a LinkedIn profile. You go to linkedin.com, set up your account with your name, email address, and password, and input the requested information that LinkedIn asks of you to create your professional online profile. Here's what LinkedIn.com looks like. Through the magic of technology, we've inputted our information and moved on to the next screen. It asks some more biographical information and where we work, and this is important because since LinkedIn is a professional network, where you work and where you live will be very important for LinkedIn to suggest who else you might want to connect with on this site. And it also allows other people to find you, and that's what's most important. Because a few years ago, Google was the go-to spot to find someone who had the services that our clients needed. But nowadays, they're going to LinkedIn. LinkedIn gives you the option of doing a paid or a free profile. I think for those of us who are starting out, and even myself included, I use the free option. And I think that's a great way to get started and gives you all the options you need to get up and running on this professional networking platform. And LinkedIn will ask you specific questions with all the information that you need to know to set up your account. And once you do, it will look something like this. Again, without my picture, hopefully. Now, since this is a professional site, all the information that you're going to see on my LinkedIn page is about my practice, my firm, and the type of work that I do. So as you can see on the top, it's solely biographical information. There's a summary about me. If you scroll down, you can find out about my experience and where I've worked, what organizations I've been a part of, what books, articles, and publications I've wrote, all in one spot. And you can also find where I went to school, information about awards and honors that I've received, and on the bottom, you can see skills and endorsements. And this is a really fantastic tool because other LinkedIn users can recognize you for what you are good at, whether it's litigation, intellectual property, or maybe you're really good at CrossFit. These things are all part of who we are, and LinkedIn allows your professional network to recommend you. Now, that's what the public will see. Just like Twitter and Facebook, LinkedIn also has a back end, and this is what you see when you log into your site. On the top, you'll see a box that will allow you to make LinkedIn posts similar to posting a tweet, or similar to making a Facebook post. But this time, only you have the option to post on your LinkedIn account. Unlike those other social networking profiles, other LinkedIn users don't have the ability to post on your page, and that's what makes it a really professional, safe, and great way to network online. Below that box, you'll see my LinkedIn feed, which are other things that my LinkedIn Connections has posted. And on the right side, LinkedIn is suggesting who else I may want to connect with directly on the site. Your LinkedIn profile will look something like this, but hopefully without my name and picture. As you can see, this is basically my online resume and professional profile. On the top, there's a summary of where I work and what I do. If I scroll down the page, you can see my experience working with different law firms and different organizations. You can see articles or publications that I've written and posted directly with a link on LinkedIn. You can see where I went to law school, where I went to college, so that other people who I went to school with can find me easily on the social networking platform. And you can also list organizations and awards. And one of the best features of LinkedIn is where your professional connections can recommend your skills and expertise directly on the site. Now let's learn how to communicate on LinkedIn. We can publish professional updates and share them with our professional network. We can message directly with our LinkedIn contacts right on the site. And we can leverage LinkedIn's technology to help us find ways to make new connections that we didn't even know we had. So let's get started. At the top of the screen, you'll see a very large box, and I can type in whatever content that I want to share with my LinkedIn network. I can also post links to articles and other information that I want to share. Once I do and press post, the content moves directly down the screen and joins the LinkedIn feed so that other people can find out what I'm posting. I can also make new connections directly on the site. So just like on Facebook and Twitter, I could type Greg Coleman's name into the search box on the top of the screen, and I'll get a listing of everyone named Greg Coleman. And as you can see, LinkedIn had a good idea that I was searching for the Florida Bar President, Greg Coleman, based upon the number of shared connections we have, meaning the number of people that both Greg and I are connected to that are similar. Once I select Greg's name, I go directly to his professional LinkedIn profile. And if I want to connect with him, I press the blue Connect button right next to his picture. Once I do, I can communicate and connect with Greg Coleman and his connections directly online. What if I want to send someone a message? I see that I'm already connected to former YLD President Melanie Griffin. By clicking the Send a Message button, just like on Facebook, just like on Twitter, just like sending an email, a new window will pop up, and I can communicate with Melanie privately, directly through the site. And now here is what makes LinkedIn really special. You can leverage its technology to make new connections that you didn't know you had. So, let's say that I wanted to connect with YLD President Michael Orr, but I didn't know him, and I'd feel uncomfortable just sending a connection. By looking at the information on Michael's page, I can find a way to make that professional connection. If I scroll down, LinkedIn will tell me that there are 20 people that I am connected to who are also connected to Michael. So I can ask my friend, Mark Romance, say, Mark, would you mind making an introduction between Michael and I? Because I see that you guys have a relationship and I'd really love to meet him. And LinkedIn also tells me what I have in common with Michael. We share 5 similar skills and we're in 2 of the same groups. And this is great because once I start that communication with Michael, I know that we already have things in common. And I wouldn't know this information but for LinkedIn. So here's how you connect with the Florida Bar on LinkedIn. You can visit their pages directly through these addresses, or you can use the search option by typing the Florida Bar into LinkedIn and being directed right to their page. Once you do, you'll see the box that says Follow on the right side. Once you select that box, you'll begin to receive the Florida Bar's LinkedIn updates directly on your LinkedIn feed. And what's really special, on the right side of the screen, you can find out which of my connections is already connected to the Florida Bar and which connections are not. So, by selecting this link, I'll find that one of my great friends and colleagues, Florida Bar Board of Governor member Leslie Lott, is connected with the Florida Bar directly on LinkedIn. And I can also learn which other attorneys from the Florida Bar, who I'm not yet connected with, follow the bar. And in this way, I can expand my professional network by leveraging the technology that LinkedIn has built into the Florida Bar site. I can also connect directly with the Young Lawyers Division. You can see my friend Valerie Barnhart posts terrific information about what's going on with all things YLD directly on the site. And what's really cool is on the right side of the screen, LinkedIn tells me what the latest activity is. It will tell me who recently joined the YLD's page, or who has recently posted comments directly onto the YLD feed. This gives me ideas on how I can better connect with my professional network. I can welcome these members to the LinkedIn page, or when I see them in public, I could say, hey, I saw that you joined LinkedIn. I'm really glad that you're connecting with the Young Lawyers Division online. And by selecting the Members tab, I can find everyone who is connected with the Florida Bar YLD directly online. And this is such a useful tool because the next time that I attend the Florida Bar Convention, I can find out which of my contacts ahead of time might be attending that event. Reach out to them directly on LinkedIn and tell them how much I'm looking forward to meeting them during the meetings. And if you select this arrow on the top right of the screen, you can share the YLD page directly with your contacts. By clicking on that arrow, you can publish on your own LinkedIn page all about what the Florida YLD is doing. And if you see this little blue icon, you can even share it on your Twitter account. And that is what makes social media so special. Everything is interconnected. Oftentimes I have attorneys tell me, Ethan, I'm on LinkedIn, but I don't really know what to do with it. How can I use this technology effectively to better market my practice? and I suggest to them, check out LinkedIn Groups. LinkedIn Groups allows you to join groups with other members of similar interest, or create a new group to start a discussion directly online. If you go to the LinkedIn search box on the top of the screen, you can choose to search for different types of groups that might be on LinkedIn. And you may want to check out some from the Florida Bar. In fact, the Florida Bar Business Law section has its own group dedicated on the LinkedIn page. You can join that group and receive updates about what's going on with the business law section, find out when the next committee meetings might occur, and connect with people before, during, and after the meeting directly on LinkedIn. And the Florida Bar has many different sections and groups that you can join and connect with directly on LinkedIn. You can find out what members are part of the group so that when you go to the Florida Bar Convention or go to a section meeting, you'll get a good idea in advance who might be there and how you might want to maximize your time at those meetings by setting up lunches and coffee with other members who you know are already a part of the LinkedIn group. We've now learned about how Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn can be effective for marketing your practice. So I know what you're thinking. How can I get started with connecting with the Florida Bar today? You can visit any of these websites to connect directly with them on the site. Or you can do it the easy way. Right now, open up a browser and visit thefloridabar.org/social media and click on the Florida Bar and Young Lawyer Division social media buttons directly on the site. They'll connect you right away to their Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn accounts. Here's how it works. Once you visit the site, you'll see a list of the Florida Bar, the president of the Florida Bar, Young Lawyers Division, and all those great LinkedIn groups and Leadership Academy groups that we talked about. All you have to do is select the social media button directly on the Florida Bar site, and you'll instantly be connected with the Florida Bar president, his Twitter account, or any of these wonderful social media platforms. It's a great first step to beginning your connection with the Florida Bar. And as we all know, marketing, networking, on advertising on these sites is fantastic, but there are advertising guidelines for networking sites that you should be aware of. To find a complete list of the advertising guidelines, visit floridabar.org, select Rules on the top of the screen, select Advertising Regulations on the bottom left, and then select Guidelines. Once you'll do, you'll find the Florida Bar's guidelines for social networking sites, where the Florida Bar tells you all the information you need to know about networking on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And while we don't have time today to discuss all of the ethical implications in marketing and networking on social media, the next Florida Bar Young Lawyer Division Technology webinar will be all about social media and ethics. So stay tuned for our next informative and engaging technology webinar. Now, if you're saying to yourself, Ethan, I still need help with social media, whether it's marketing, in the law, or otherwise, well, I'd be happy to help. At Social Media Law and Order, we consult, train, and educate on all areas of social media and the law. I hope you enjoyed our webinar today, and hopefully we can become friends on Facebook. Thanks so much.